Good morning, folks. Welcome to the Morning Call Show. I'm Bob Sellers. I am now the editor of profitsandpolitics.com, and also I am the co-host of this brand new podcast that we're doing every morning. And a former anchor at CNBC and at Fox News, I've kind of seen a lot of stuff, and I've seen a lot of it with my colleague here, Jerry Burke. Jerry.
Yep. I'm an old hand too, an executive producer at Newsmax, Fox News, CNBC. Before that, I was in tabloid with Inside Edition and A Current Affair and Hard Copy and Extra out in LA. So I've got a couple of stories for you, and I'm going to throw them at you, Bob, in no particular
I got
order.
Some stories too. We haven't talked ahead of time, but just to let people know what we're trying to do here, I don't want to interrupt you, Jerry, but
no, please.
It's like we're trying to take a look at what are the big stories. Like typically in a morning in an editorial room before a show, you would have this meeting or you would have a call or both, and you'd go over the stories of the day. Now, what we're trying to do is not only go over the stories, but kind of take a look at how are they going to be covered? Because you're not seeing the whole story from Fox. You're not seeing the whole story from MS Now. And we kind of want to give our take on it so that you can be a smart viewer, put it that way. That's ideal. Right. And we're going to throw in some stories.
Well, I can get the day started. I got a bunch of stories on the little rundown here that I have. Now, I was thinking about what you were talking about, like left, center, right. Yeah. What angle? You remember when I went out in the field, when I would go up to somebody's door and knock, the first question always was, yeah, but what's your angle? You know, like the viewer is just as smart as the reporter, and oftentimes smarter. Some of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life worked in the news business. But going back to the fair and balanced issue, I decided to check out Drudge because the Drudge Report used to be like the go-to for conservative news anyway.
Conservatives, yeah.
But now you wouldn't recognize the website. Every single story is anti-Trump, anti-conservative, and all he does is repost links that he found somewhere else.
Yes.
But so I figured I'd take a look at him and see what he's talking about. And one of his top stories was from CNN, and it's about Trump. At every fork in the road in Iran, Trump's choices get worse. President Donald Trump has arrived at yet another fork in the road in Iran, but each time he reaches such a point, his options only become more narrow and the cost of any course of action grow.
Okay.
So they're pointing to the fact that after 13 nights, straight nights of bombing, he took a pause. And for the last 3 nights, it's been peaceful and quiet. Why?
Yeah.
And they're trying to restart the diplomatic talks.
Right.
You know, but it sounds, just looking at it, and I know it was written with a jaundiced eye, but really, there's got to be some exhaustion setting in among the viewership and among just the citizens across the country.
Yes, I talked to a lot of people in the magasphere, if you will, and a lot of them are moving on. A lot of them are like, okay, what's next? Because he hasn't delivered on everything you talked about. Closing the border, love it. Trying to keep taxes low, love it, although it seems like it's benefiting a lot of people at the top. But the war, the inflation, and don't fool yourselves, folks. The inflation is at least in part because of what's happened to oil in the Middle East. So I think he does have a problem. And I don't know if you watched it Friday night, but Trump didn't have the same energy. This doesn't look like the same guy that was there. And in defense, by the way, of him picking on Kaitlin Collins, look, maybe it's because I've been a journalist for a while, but he cannot like her. I think he has a problem with strong women. So let me show you something. I didn't go to this year's White House Correspondents' Dinner, but I did go to last year. And I wanted to share, here's a pic from last year with Kaitlin Collins, who, by the way, came up to me, said we had a mutual friend. And I didn't even know who that friend was, but it's the first time I talked to her, and she was delightful, and she does a hard job and getting criticized.
You're talking about the White House Correspondents' Dinner?
Correspondents' Dinner on Friday. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that in defense because I I think Trump is in a position right now. A lot of his supporters are like, okay, let's move on. Let's see if we can get out of Iraq. Let's see if we can improve the gas prices, and even more importantly, Jerry, grocery prices. And I think distraction. Now, something that's happening today on Wall Street, because of the activity going down over there right now, the stock market has actually gone up and oil prices have come down. That's good for you and me, because all of that does have an effect on prices, because it gets passed through in the higher oil prices. A lot of products, you have to transport them. And of course, we all experience gas prices. But so, yeah, I think you're right. I think Iran has not been a gift to him.
I have to double back on something that you said about, I don't think Trump is intimidated by strong women.
No.
He's surrounded himself with strong women. You know, every one of his press spokespersons have been women. You know, think about it, going all the way back.
That's true, but he doesn't like to be challenged by strong women. I mean, Trump only likes people who like him. He says it. I'm not the one saying that. And he's not the only one in the world who's like that, right? If somebody likes me, I'm probably going to like them. I just, as somebody who's been in the press a good part of his life, I understand how politicians are trying to convince you it's the fake media, because then if there's something bad about them, they can say, oh, that's all fake. You shouldn't believe a thing you see. And I see this amongst my friends. But getting back to my premise, I really think a lot of people in the MAGA world are starting to look forward.
Another story that popped up over the weekend, this headline here from the Daily Mail, a Lebanese German ISIS terrorist, they call him, who plowed into the Pride parade over there, killing one and injuring 29, is shot dead. So now the kerfuffle was about calling him a Lebanese German ISIS terrorist because he was born in Germany.
Yeah.
So he's a German. You know, he's not a Lebanese German. Like, his parents might have been from Lebanon. Right. But, you know, I guess the headline was better if you put the word Lebanese German in there.
Well, okay. What did he yell before he did it?
Allah Akbar, that famous phrase.
Okay, so let me be a little indelicate, but we want to be honest with the people that watch us.
Yeah.
Part of the problem in Europe is that the proximity of what's going on with some of these people moving into other countries from the Middle East, let's say, and not assimilating, but bringing their culture into areas where they didn't have that. That's one of the fears that you see, especially from conservatives here in the United States.
Right.
And so there, it's more proximate, right? And so that's why you see countries like Switzerland basically saying, if you're not from here, you know, you got a lot of steps to go through before you're part of us.
Yeah.
And I think part of the problem in Europe, especially Western Europe, is people moving in and not assimilating. It's like, if you want to come in, work hard, earn your way, and go into Western values, that's fine. Now, the guy that cuts my hair is from Iran. I've mentioned him before, that he left the country after they threatened to cut off his hands for coloring a woman's hair. He has told me how these people come from other countries into Iran. This is his account, okay? I don't live there. He literally has family living there. And he says they don't assimilate. They become part of the government will support them by telling them, yeah, you can go out, and anybody that opposes us, you can go take their stuff. Okay. So that's just an anecdote. As a journalist, I wouldn't go on the air with that, but I'm just trying to be real with folks. The problem that you have in place is that the reason they wrote that, a Lebanese German, is to identify, I think that's a wink, wink. Don't you?
Yeah. His ethnicity.
Okay. I get stories too, Jerry.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring one up.
Sure.
And I'm bringing this up because I know both of these people, and it's gotten a lot of attention online. Brooke Baldwin and Megyn Kelly.
Oh yeah.
You used the word kerfuffle. There was a story out that came out about Brooke. She put out a story, I guess, on her Substack. Okay, so here's part of it. Okay, she was talking about some things that she was going through personally, and that title there implied, and a lot of people inferred. I hope you're impressed that I used that.
Yeah. Now diagram that sentence.
Right. I used to be good at that, by the way.
I was too.
In any effect, anyway, Brooke, who I used to work with at Fox 5 here in DC, and a delightful, smart, engaging person. I like Brooke a lot. She wrote a story that was about her personal life, what was going on, about how she had met these attractive men. And the point of the story was literally that she did not choose to engage with them on a casual sex level. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm always leery of two men talking about another woman. Okay. So I'm just trying to present this the best we know it. Yeah. The problem Brooke had was that a lot of people thought that she was saying she did have casual sex with like 4 men in a month, describing who they were, and not by name, but by power and position. And Megyn Kelly on her show criticized. And now you and I both worked with Megyn, smart woman, accomplished. And again, someone I consider a friend. But what this says to me, she laid it open to these 3 guys who were on her show to pick at Brooke and to make fun of what she had done, what she had become. Oh, look, Brooke used to be this good, proper person, and look what she's doing now. It was based on a fallacy. And that's the point. And that's the reason we're talking about it, is so much of that goes on now in the media that you got to be careful when you see something that may not be as attractive.
Yeah, because you trust someone like Megyn. I remember when she was hired at Fox to begin with, she was the Justice Department correspondent, and she used to break down all the Supreme Court decisions. And she was a very thorough reporter. Yep. And it sounds like she did 9 minutes on her show about the CNN reporter, but like it came across as if she didn't even read the article.
I think that may have happened. I think she did an update indicating that she may not have gotten the conclusion quite accurate, but she still stood by some of her observations. Again, I am summarizing. My only warning is to folks to be careful when you see something. There are times that my wife says, "Hey, is it true that so-and-so is going on?" And I'll ask her, "What's your source? Where are you seeing that?"
Right.
And, probably 3 out of 4 times it's like, well, that's not exactly what's happening. Yet that takes on a life of its own, Jerry. And the thing with Brooke, and I feel bad for her, is like she said, millions of people watch Megyn. And so millions of people have that impression of Brooke. And what do they say? Where do I go to get my reputation back? So.
Well, I just want to inform you that for the purposes of this segment only, I am identifying as a woman.
Okay. Well, that's important because most of our segments, we do have to self-identify before we launch.
We do.
Okay. Well, do. Good. Then at least we have a proper mix.
Yeah, we do. We got something. Okay. What else you got? You got anything else?
Okay. I'll tell you what else I have. And I wrote this. I mentioned before, I'm editor of profitsandpolitics.com. It's a new website set up launch. Folks, go take a look, see if you like it. It's kind of a look at Wall Street and Washington from Main Street's view. We don't idolize them. We try to hold them accountable. So the story that I wrote was hiring related to AI. We all expected that hiring would collapse. But in fact, hiring related to AI is going up. And that surprised a lot of people. There's some big companies now that are hiring people in order to work with AI. And so the fear that it was going to cost everybody their jobs, maybe not. Maybe if you're working with AI, it'll turn out. And I'll try the title that I put on is AI was supposed to take our jobs. So I asked AI, what happened. And I did. So this morning, I asked AI. Hey, I gave it the Wall Street Journal article, and I gave my own observations, and it made some comments which I shared. And then I made my own observations. They call errors on AI. They call them hallucinations. So we're getting a lot of hallucinations in AI. And that's one of them. Maybe they had a hallucination. Everything's a little different now than people thought. And it's an interesting story, I think, on what's going on there.
I have another story critiquing the media. The New York Times over the weekend included ex-Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro on its most stylish list.
Oh my goodness! Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Now I've seen the dude being perp walked, as they call it.
I was just going to say, isn't he wearing orange now? I mean,
yeah, orange is the new black.
That's right. But what did it say? I didn't see that. I'm a little surprised.
Well,
I mean, I'm not surprised, but I am surprised. And you know why? It's provocative and it has people talking.
Exactly right. And there's the headline there with the
oh my goodness
photos. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Okay.
And then it said that the first sentence says they raised eyebrows after it included ousted Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro on its most stylish list before quickly backtracking.
Well, you can see why they would, but this is what gets me, Jerry, is you we used to work on the same show together, right? And you would say, Bob, I'm going to save you from yourself. And you would tell me not to do something. So how did this get through the layers of editing? There are no layers anymore. It's like we need to feed the beast being the website, the platform. And so it probably got up there and then somebody, what? They put what? No, that wasn't supposed to go. And then they had the backtrack because there are very few layers of
because most the viewership out there and the readership, they watch movies like, All the King's Men and stuff like that, All the President's Men. And they see Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford and they're arguing with their editor and there's like this there's like all these layers of authority that you have to get through and double check and verify. No, it's not like that at all.
No, it's not like that anymore. It may have been, but it's not anymore. I've got another one. It kind of relates to, the Fed is meeting on Wednesday. Okay. And I think Wednesday also Rand Paul has Anthony Fauci up on. That's going to be interesting. And I'll just give this quick, before we get to that Rand Paul versus, and in this quarter, I did want to talk about the Fed meeting. A lot of people are concerned about inflation and thinking, well, would the Fed raise interest rates, which I don't think it's going to do. But one of the things that people watch nowadays is Kalshi, the betting markets, to see what's happen. And they're doing that for political races. They're doing that for, is the Fed going to raise or lower interest rates? And I have heard people say that Kalshi and the betting markets are taking the place of polls. And I know you know a lot about polls, so do I. Here's the problem I have with that conclusion. For a small amount of money, people would be able to enter the Kalshi betting market and get people to think something and possibly influence the outcome. In the same way, by the way, that polls get released a lot of times for somebody to drive their narrative. Oh, look, we're doing great. We're ahead by 15 points. And that may not be quite, and you have to look at, how many Democrats, how many Republicans, how many independents, all that stuff that's the footer material. And the political people will release that to try to influence, but we know they can be wrong because we saw what happened with Hillary and with Trump in 2016. But I make the argument that, and by the way, folks, just so you know, if a politician really wants real nitty-gritty information, they pay a lot of money, and pollsters are quite able to go in and find out how are people really voting. Are they turn out. It costs a lot, and it's a lot more detail. A lot of times, those are ones that, Jerry, you and I don't see.
Yeah. Now, Roger Ailes was obsessed with polling, and the Fox News poll, the pollster who I knew, a lovely woman, Dana Blanton, I think her name was.
I remember that.
And it was subjected to the most rigorous stress tests of all I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They were nuts about it, and they were pretty spot on.
Yeah. Well, it got them in trouble. The people that did do the job in 2020, a lot of people were upset that they called Arizona what they felt was too soon.
Yeah. What was that about?
They were right. I feel like if we go down that road,
No.
spend an hour on it. We can address it another time.
I've been in 3 depositions over that, so I'd rather not.
And I've been in 2. So, and by the way, we were on the, well, let's just leave it at that.
Move on.
You've got Rand Paul, the senator, who really seems to have it out for Anthony Fauci. And I don't know how you feel about this, but this is going to be interesting because Fauci's been pardoned, right?
Yeah.
So I think legally, Rand Paul can say, you can't avoid and not answer. You have to answer. You've already been pardoned, and you are responsible for gain of function research that led to powerful viruses that got out of hand, and you lied to the American people about how it happened, and all you cared about is how you were being covered in the press. Right. And that's kind of what I see coming up.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fireworks, because I have never seen anyone worked up over Fauci as much as Rand Paul has been.
Absolutely.
And the smoking gun has been released already. Rand Paul has Anthony Fauci's diary, private diaries.
Yeah.
And in the diary, he admits in January of 2020, because in my head, I remember COVID hitting like by St. Patrick's Day of 2020, the middle of March. I remember that because that was like the last night.
That's when it really came down. Yeah.
Yeah. That's when it really came down. So you're telling me 3 months previous to that, Fauci already knew. He writes in his diary, well, now we know it didn't come from the wet market.
And yet that's what he was going with. And Jerry, I remember January covering that with you, because there was a plane coming in from China. I think it's from Wuhan.
Wuhan, that's right.
And you were all over it. You said, this plane's coming in. If there's a virus on there, why are they being allowed to land? And by the way, I am convinced I had already had COVID, because I had all the symptoms, and I didn't miss a day of work, but I was coughing like during 3 or 4 minutes between each segment. I was coughing.
Oh yeah.
I got a rash. I got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And then got through it, and it's like, okay, I'm good to go. And Fauci, here's when his credibility was lost for me. Early on, remember, he said, yeah, you should get these masks. These masks will help you. And if you have a mask, it can help you keep you from getting the virus. And then all of a sudden he said, yeah, we don't need the mask. You don't need to get the mask. And then come to find out, there was a shortage of masks, and the first responders and the doctors and nurses, they all needed them. The fact that he was willing to change his story for whatever his narrative was, he lost credibility with me. Plus, I never believed the wet market story anyway. Never made any sense. You mean to tell me all this is going on? It made more sense. It got out of a lab. The question to me, Jerry, was always, did it get out of the lab by accident or on purpose? And we still haven't answered that, by the way.
Yeah. Now, but for what purpose, though? I don't get it. What was China's motive?
Well, you mean if it had been on purpose?
And also
a test run to see what they could do to the American economy. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying the theory. If I posited that they wanted to do it on purpose.
Another thing I wondered about was, Fauci, it's been reported, sent money to that lab for research
Well, he got money funded to that lab.
Yeah. But did that mean, were there any American scientists working in that lab?
I don't know the answer to that. I think it was an American group that was part of it being funded. And the question was it gain of function, which would take a virus and give it more power? And Fauci said, no, it was not gain of function by his definition, but by other definitions, it was gain of function. And as a country, the argument goes, we shouldn't be funding gain of function, especially in Wuhan, China.
Yeah. Well, you know, I was suspicious, as you know, from January, you know, looking with horror as, you know, China Airlines was landing at JFK, you know, 5 times a day from Wuhan. I was like, is anyone doing anything about this?
You were, and we were talking about it, but it didn't make a difference. They didn't do anything.
But the thing for me, when I lost all hope, was when I saw Fauci sitting on the cover of InStyle magazine by a swimming pool in the backyard of some mansion somewhere.
Oh my!
And I was like, oh man, this guy thinks he's a movie star.
Yeah, apparently, according to his diary, he was really enjoying the attention.
Yeah,
and
the diary's going to be the death of him. Wait till you see on Wednesday.
Yeah, so, I think it's going to be uncomfortable because I don't think he can avoid the questions, and Rand Paul has it out for him. So I think it's going to be a popcorn moment, and this is one of the things we're trying to do in this is look ahead to stories to prepare for what we're going to see. I don't know if I have anything else.
No, that's all I got for today.
Let me see if I have anything. No, I think that's it. I mean, maybe the only thing I would throw in there is where's Mitch McConnell? You know,
we should end every show with that. Hold up signs and say, "Where are you, Mitch? Where's Mitch?"
Day 364 of the American hostages.
What's in the bag, Mr. Kardashian?
Yeah, I think that isn't it easy to prove you're alive? Like just, you know,
right. He did. He tried to. He was in the hospital bed with the newspaper, and then somebody pointed out it was like all obviously photoshopped.
Yeah, I don't believe that for a second. But and if he's not doing well, that's fine. But anyway, we don't know. So I guess that's our show for today. I think we covered a lot, threw in a few stories. We're still trying to get the hang of this.
Yeah, it's all good. What is it called? Live long and prosper, or whatever.
Yeah, live long and prosper. That's a mutual friend of ours would correct us. No, you have to do it with the left hand. And I don't know, but he knows who he is, and a lot of love going your way.
We love him.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Bob. I'll talk to you in a bit.
No. Come on. You got to end it, Jerry.
Oh, breaking news changes everything.